Hi, everybody. I'm Maxine. This is episode 19 of Happy AF podcast. I'm happy alcohol free.
And I'm happy as fuck.
And we're happy together.
We are.
Happy together. Dun,
And by the
dun,
way, in
dun.
an effort to keep the episodes evergreen, it's actually like minus 20 outside and snowing.
We are actually in the
We're
height of
just
summer.
trying to keep confusing everyone.
Yeah, you're missing the point of that.
I
Now
know.
you're
I just-
confusing everybody.
I'm just doing it on purpose. I think it's hysterical.
It is gorgeous. We're still in the height of summer here. We
Yes.
just love it. You're wearing a gorgeous summer dress today.
Thank
I
you.
love it.
COVID purchase. How
Nice.
wonderful was COVID for that, right? So during COVID, what happened is we didn't know it was going to be COVID. We were living in New York City. We went to our little lake cabin. It was
Oh,
March.
yes, you told that story.
for
Yes, you
ski,
went there
right?
before.
And then for a year and a half,
And then you were like, well, and we're here.
and I had no clothes. So I
So
was
you
like,
had
"Oh,
to
well, I need
shop."
to stock up.
Darn it.
Great.
Got
Love it. So-
I love it. I didn't do very much shopping during COVID. I fully embraced the lockdown, though. I
Oh,
mean, we were so
God.
grateful that we had left the
I
city as
loved
well.
it.
We had already moved here.
Right.
We moved 3 years before COVID. So everyone was like,
Oh.
did you know it was coming?
Right.
We moved to Vermont, and I know you have to be careful about, because it was a very dark time.
It sucked
was
for a lot
very,
of
very
people.
dark time. It was so magical.
I know my sister and I keep saying that.
I
So
loved it so much.
You always have to be like, you always have to preface it by, I know COVID was horrible. A lot of people died. It sucked for people
Yes,
in New York
yes,
City that
yes.
were stuck. Like
Yes.
empathy. But then like when I'm done, like putting out there how I get it, I'm like, we had the best fucking COVID. We got so lucky. We didn't know. We got up there on a lake in the mountains. My sister was next door. That was our bubble. And I had people to drink with because I've always been a heavy drinker.
Yes.
But I was by
Now-
myself. Now everybody's drinking with me starting noon.
So listen, not remotely on our podcast.
No, not
roadmap
even.
For
I
today.
don't even.
Like,
You started with the
I don't know
dress.
why I even have this. Anyway, the COVID period is widely known as being the time when people just
Drank
became
more.
fucking alcoholics.
Right.
Like everyone was just drinking all the time.
Yeah.
Now, I look back and realize that I was super cautious because I think at that point I was already in the place very much aware that there were issues for me as a
Mhm.
drinker, that because I was a binge drinker, right?
Right.
So, and I think what COVID did for me was just solidify that whole binge drinking thing because I loved being at home. I did a lot of writing. I did a lot of home, like work in my home. I was homeschooling 2 children at the
Wow.
time. I was a music teacher, God help them, for online for school.
Right.
So I was, I had very, very full days, still quite full days.
Right.
But Saturday night, switch off.
Right.
And I would drink Saturday on almost all through Sunday.
Man, you sound like a fucking school teacher compared to me. So,
Well, I was a school
because
teacher.
so I was working remotely, so
Mm-hmm.
I still was working, but obviously the load was different, right? Because it
Right.
was COVID. But and I've said that before, all it did is add company, So I would start drinking noon-ish, but all of a sudden I was alone drinking at noon-ish. And I never hid my drinking, but I didn't necessarily flaunt it, that I had a glass of wine at 1 p.m. on a Monday, right? I didn't flaunt it. This time around in COVID, I could.
Yes.
And we
yes.
would go hiking. So let's say, I would work, and then let's say I didn't have any calls or any startup. I work in construction. So we're like, okay, let's go for a nice hike. Me, my sister, her kid, and we have a couple of dogs and Brooks. I would make lunch and obviously in thermos, bring a lot of Chablis, right? So, and I would have done
In a
that
flask.
regardless.
Love
But
it.
now people were like, oh yeah, it's COVID. And I was like, oh yeah, right? Like it just made me
Yeah.
look, I had an excuse.
You were normalized.
That's it.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
normalized.
you were normalized.
But I already
Speaking
knew
of
it, yeah.
drinking, what are we
So-
drinking?
And speaking of white wine and Chablis, that's exactly what happened today. So you were like, Isabelle, can you bring wine? I'm like, of course, I have a full, when I say wine, we all know I mean NA wine, right?
Yes, yes.
Full
Very much so.
cave of wine.
Yes.
Except I was all over the map this week in Boston round trip yesterday, and my white wine is warm. And God forgive, I'm not going to put a fucking ice cube in my wine. I
No,
just
no,
won't.
no.
So my go-to when that happens is this baby here. That's one of the go-to. Wilfred's.
Wilfred's.
So I'll do an Aperol
It's an
spritz.
Aperol
Now
spritz.
in my haste.
And there are some not good versions of that.
This one's a good
of
version.
the Aperol spritz.
Yeah.
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
Hands down.
And
It's
in
got a
my-
little citrusy to it.
Correct. And in my haste, usually you should put tonic. But I
Okay.
took club soda.
Club
It's still
soda
gonna be
works.
fine.
Fever Tree, also my favorite.
Yep. So, and Wilfred's, like you were mentioning, it is orangey. It's got
Yeah.
rosemary. It's got rhubarb. It's got ginseng. What the fuck that is, I don't know, but it's good.
Ginseng.
Not ginseng.
Oh.
Gen-Xian, like a Gen Z, but not a Gen Z.
Now I'm more
Gentia.
confused. I'm going to need to see what's
And
in
it's
that.
got carrots and black currants.
For color, probably.
No, I say it's for our vitamins.
Oh, and that.
Vitamins.
But nice.
Like
vitamins.
The, like the
vitamins.
British people say.
No,
they
and
like,
Irish people say vitamins too.
it cracks me up. So Brooks and I was listening to this podcast and the man kept saying, and you will get your vitamins. So now I cannot say vitamins. I'm always having vitamins.
Yeah, vitamins. We say vitamins and we say yogurt
Yogurt.
instead of yogurt.
What the yog is fucking yogurt.
It's yogurt.
Yuck.
But,
I prefer yogurt.
You know, I switched. People have asked me that, you know, at what point did I switch from using words that I grew up with versus using words that are used in this country.
Right.
And it was a while ago. I think it was right around the time I had kids because I was like, it's, you know, I'm living here. I'm going to raise my family here. I'm just,
Right.
cheers,
Cheers. I had to. I was thirsty.
Winifred's.
I think there's certain words you should not
Oh,
give
that's
up.
delicious.
Number one, Lou. My best
Going to the
friend,
loo?
yeah, my best friend was British. She passed away. She was one of my big drinking buddy. Didn't die of alcohol, die of a fluke like Diane Keaton. Got a pneumonia and was gone at 41 years old. Tragic, tragic story.
Oh my God.
Yeah, really bad. But she used to say, I need to go to Lou. She was British. And my mother-in-law is British. And I'm like, that's the best. And it's stuck. And I love going to the Lou. The Lou is
Okay.
one. Vitamins, I think vitamins is brilliant.
Vitamins.
Vitamins, and there's
We
a few
also
others.
say words like rubbish.
I love
To
rubbish.
throw out your rubbish
I love
instead of your
rubbish.
trash.
And also from your lips to God's ears.
Oh,
Love that.
I mean, there are so many, and don't even get me started on the Irish language. Like in Irish, we
Right.
have the most extraordinary sayings, and I don't speak Irish.
I love
but,
sayings.
but we have the most incredible sayings.
I
But
love
that's,
sayings.
That's
Like,
another podcast for another day.
Yeah,
When I have a cousin who actually she'd be great on this podcast. She doesn't drink, never
Oh,
drank.
wow.
She's the daughter of the aunt that I'm always referring to
Yes.
when I say my aunt who has one glass of wine a year.
Yes.
It's her daughter. So not surprisingly,
Right.
didn't grow up in a big alcohol household. It's
Not
not, a
our
big
thing.
yeah. But Emer, my cousin Emer, is she's an expert linguist. She's fluent French speaker.
Wow.
So beautiful. A fluent Irish speaker.
what is an Irish speaker? It's like, you mean Celtic or Gaelic or?
No, it's neither of those things. Just called Irish.
And
just
it's
called
not
Irish.
English.
It's not English. It's Irish.
So same as Gaelic is Gaelic and
Yes. So
Right?
Gaelic is just a misnomer. We don't use that term
Okay.
in Ireland.
All
We just
right.
call it
But in
the Irish
Scotland-
language.
Okay, but I mean, it's the
And there's
same sort of
Gaelic
thing.
languages from all of those places. But yeah, in Ireland, we speak Irish. Well, we don't speak Irish because if I could reference again the 800 years of colonization and ruination of our language. But
I want to say on that, you can also tell your little Maxine, the little French guy that's staying at
Yes,
your house,
yes.
that I don't speak French Canadian. I actually speaks French too. So you can put
Okay.
that in his pipe.
Okay.
I'm not getting over
I feel like
that.
we need to get Maxime over
Yeah,
here on
Maxime
the podcast.
needs to come
but
over here.
No,
I don't
he's not
care
ready.
how-
He's
No, I'm
13. He can't be
joking.
exposed to this.
Oh, I can
this
kick
debauchery.
his ass.
All right. Today, I love our Q&A sessions. I love them. And they actually do keep us a little bit on track, although we end up having like 7 or 8 questions and we only get through 3 because we
Oh,
never stop talking.
Right.
But it's actually funny because I forgot what some of these questions were. And the first one is for you.
Oh, Jesus.
It's actually amazing because
This is someone I personally know.
no.
Oh,
No, these are people
Really?
who like post on the
I love
website
that.
or on the
see, you know I'm
Instagram
unplugged, so
or
I have no
TikTok
idea.
or whatever.
Right.
When we ask people to send us questions, because I don't know the answer to this.
Oh, please do ask.
Isabelle,
Is it sexy? Oh,
No.
fuck.
I could change the question. Isabelle, what do you do?
What do you mean, do I
What's your
do?
job?
My job? Oh my God. So it's
Because you have referenced it many times,
yes.
but if somebody said to me, "Hey, what does
It's
your friend Isabelle
the
do?" I'd be like,
most unsexy thing ever, and I'm gonna try to keep it like short. So I'm an engineer by trade. I'm a chemical engineer, and
"Chemical engineer." I mean, that sounds so smart, fancy pants.
I am so fucking smart. Anyway, that's why I had to drink just to be with the land of humans. Numb myself to
You
your
have to dumb
level.
yourself
Yeah, I have to
down.
dumb myself down.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
so anywho, I am a chemical engineer and I work
Chemical engineer.
in construction, on construction sites, because in layman's term, to make air conditioning
Yes.
in big buildings, pharmaceutical plants, data centers, they can't just put little air conditioning in the windows. That
Right.
doesn't work. They use water. And that water, you have to do a lot of things to it. And one of the things you have to do is filter it really well.
Mm.
So we make filters. They're big machines with valves and pumps. And I'm responsible for everything about this filter. I design it with the design engineers. I start it up. That means I wear a hat and
Wow.
boots and I have tools. So yeah. So let me, and I have to
Okay,
sell it.
hold on a second, because we were actually talking about this in our team
Oh,
meeting the other day.
okay.
I need a picture because now obviously all I'm thinking about is the
Of
village
me in
people.
construction.
Yes. And I've got a village people
Oh,
image
yeah.
of you.
Fully
So
clothed or
we need
naked?
wait.
Which one you want? I can go both ways. I don't care. If I need to sell a big job, I take my top off. I put the hat
I would
on.
like
No,
a
I'm
photo
joking.
of you in construction
No, I
garb.
have that.
And then we're going to put it on the website. And
Oh,
then we're going to
shit.
go over to happyafpodcast.com and look at Isabelle in a construction outfit.
You know,
Amazing.
years ago, it was Halloween. I was living in Harlem and I was coming back from traveling, got invited to a party last minute. I was like, fuck, I don't have anything to wear. I wore my construction garb. It was a big, and I bought a tea mustache. It was a big hit.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have the you're in
That's
too good
why-
shape to have the crack, the showing, you know.
Oh, you can be skinny and have a crack. Plus, I have like the butt
You have to wear
dimple.
super, super low Britney Spears
No,
jeans.
like my jeans, I wear loose clothes. So when I bend down, sometimes I do think I show a dimple, a butt dimple.
a little, okay.
I think I do show.
Okay.
Hey, listen, whatever is going to close the deal.
Okay, amazing. So I honestly, like, until this moment, didn't know what
So
you did.
that's why most of the time you'll see me wearing makeup. If I can, I wear a dress because I'm
Because the
always
rest of the
wearing
time you
jeans
are
and hard
not.
boots. Correct.
Wow.
Yes.
So I have a sub question then. So construction, engineering, typically a very male dominated
Yes.
business. Yes.
So when I start, and also when I do design work, I teach design engineers. So once in a while, I get to dress like a normal office person. That's yay, because I do teachings.
Okay.
So when I was starting in the 90s, it was mainly, especially in New York City, Italian Americans and Irish. And actually, I have a funny story. And I was really cute. I was like 25. My accent was thicker. I had long hair. And so I was a big hit in mechanical rooms. So it was easy to sell because I'm also in sales. And I learned the most of my construction and engineering skills from these people that work in the field.
Right.
Not in school, like
Okay.
really, because they'd be like, honey, come over here. Let me show you this pump. Because I would learn how to calculate shit that I know how it works. And I found
Okay.
that
Now we're going to swap roles here.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to highlight that you said, honey, come over here and let me show you this pump.
Yes. Oh my God. There's so many innuendos that we do. It's so bad.
You've ruined me.
It's so bad. I've ruined you. But one year, I remember I was 25. I don't know if I said that story. I was dating a boy from New Jersey, a medical student, right? And we broke up. So I show up at a site and I'm looking destitute, right? I have no friends because it was a male-dominated world. I'm a young woman in New York. I didn't study here. I don't know anybody here. And all my work surroundings are middle-aged men, not necessarily people I'm going to hang out with. So I was quite lonely for many years. And this guy goes, Vinny, goes,
Oh, Vinny
yeah,
was
of
his
course,
actual
it was
name.
all like,
of course
it was
his name
all
was Vinny.
Vinny, Frankie's, Joey, Joe. It's all everybody.
Mickey.
Al, a lot
Yep.
of Al. So Vinny, hey, Isabella, not for nothing, but you don't look so good. What's going on? Is it the doctor? He was a medical student, not a doctor. So I'm like, yeah, we broke up. Oh, yeah? Huh. Listen, not for nothing, just tell me where he lives. We don't hurt him. We just scare him a little. Me and my cousin. And I was like, no, no,
You're
no,
like,
Vinny, we're
and
good.
I'm in an
And
episode
they
of The
were dead fucking
Sopranos.
serious. Oh, that's how it was. They were dead serious. Like I remember being in a meeting, I was so fresh. I was at a meeting with my boss. Again, this guy was Bobby. I mean, I can't
You
make this
can't make
shit
it
up.
up.
The Bobby's
Vinny,
like,
Bobby,
and my boss was Al. I won't say his
Danny.
last name, and Al was Italian American too. I'm still friends with Al. So Bobby's like, Al, close the door. So we close the door. He's like, listen, so we make a conversation. We have to go out for bid, but he wants us to retain the business. So he's basically, this is the 90s,
Yeah.
how we can do this without doing this. You know, how we can retain the business, but pretend we're going out to bid. Okay. So at the end of it, and I'm so French Canadian, I'm so green. Bobby goes to Al. So we never had this conversation. So Al goes like, what conversation? And I turn, I'm like, this one, asshole. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, Bobby, yeah, forgive her. Listen, forgive. I mean, I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. So that's
You're
just
like,
to
wow,
show you.
everyone's dumb.
Oh no, I had like, so it was all male.
Yes.
I will be honest with you that if I was discriminated against, I didn't feel it that much. But I like working with guys.
But you were just a bit of a fish out of water. Here's the
Yes.
question though, related to that.
Right.
What is the drinking culture like in the
So back then I was a heavy smoker, so I didn't drink as much. I drank, but not as much as when at 27, 28, when I had a bad relationship. We drank a lot, and then I went downhill. So I don't recall that it was, and I didn't socialize with these people that much. You know, they
Right.
weren't. Listen, I was
But
25.
work dinners or work functions are not many of those.
No, not back then. Not with this. And it was construction. It wasn't horrible. What was, I remember, is when I started making friends outside of that industry, and this was the 90s, and maybe you remember that, where like 24-year-old on Wall Streets were making hundreds of thousands of dollars and would go to restaurants and drop like, you know, and it was like the big red wines from California that was like $1,000
trust
bottle.
me, I was there.
Right. So that, like, I remember, like, and then that's when I started taking wine. I went to the International Wine Center and did like parts of the sommelier for 4 years curriculum, right? Because that's in the 90s in New York, that wine culture was becoming, you had to be in it.
Yeah.
And the restaurant, right? And I have a few chefs under my sleeves, you know. That was like a big, that my wine drinking culture was more surrounded by that.
And what about now?
In terms of what? Oh,
Like,
the way
yeah,
I work? Oh, so I don't like to socialize for work. I never did. It was never my thing. So I do it very little. That's not how I sell. So it's, and when I do socialize for work, it's people I actually like. And interestingly enough, most of these people from work don't drink that much. Those men don't drink that much.
Interesting.
Very interesting. And I don't know if it's because, first of all, it's a very early morning kind of work, right? They're up at 6. I mean, they're on the field at 6. You're dealing with a lot of heavy machinery. So I'll be honest with you that there are people that drink heavily, but they're the minority in my experience. And I remember having to curtail it at dinners, like where I would have one glass and that's it, and then go home and open the bottle and finish it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I wasn't in an industry that I felt was drinking a lot.
Because it's interesting because I've heard so many stories, both from books I've read and also from people that I've known. In fact, one of our friends who, Leah, who is also an engineer, a nuclear engineer. Like brainy people. And
she's really smart.
She's incredibly smart. And one of the things she was talking about is, and my mother-in-law who worked in finance in the 70s and 80s. I have friends who were lawyers. I have friends who've worked in advertising. And so much of those deals, backroom, boardroom things, they're just so heavily steeped in alcohol. And Leah was saying that she's been going out on these work trips and still feels like really uncomfortable because it's mostly men and they're
Yeah.
mostly drinking whiskeys and high-end wine. And she's like, I still feel a little bit, oh, I don't
It's
drink.
funny. So I'm actually more comfortable in the company of men than I am with women. I've always struggled with women friendships. I always feel like a fish out of water with women friendship. I always feel
Not
as
with me,
not
you
with
don't.
you, but like I always feel like I'm not enough or I did something wrong. I'm much more or less comfortable. I'm very comfortable with men. So I've never, so maybe they are drinking heavily. I don't see it. I will see that in construction. Think about it. These guys are hanging off pipes.
Right, right,
They're
right, right.
handling heavy
You've got to
machinery at
take it
6 in the morning.
seriously. Yeah.
You can't be hungover, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, especially with the safety rules, there's a lot of eyes on these people and they lose their job automatically. So I think it might be more in the design engineering world in offices,
Right.
perhaps,
Then maybe on
than
site.
on
That makes perfect sense,
sites.
though. That
That's
makes
on
perfect
sites.
sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'm just glad that I and everybody listening now knows what Isabel does for a living.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
And then there's shit that we can talk about on this podcast. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
What do you moonlight as?
hmm
Oh, this one's for me. Maxine, do you now think that you were an alcoholic? So that's an interesting one because, and I feel there's no yes or no answer
But
to that.
remind everyone what kind of drinker you were
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying.
to
That's not a yes.
answer that. Right.
It's not a yes or no answer.
hmm
That's what I'm saying. It's
hmm
like there's many ways you could interpret it. And I
hmm
think labels are very dangerous, period, across the board.
hmm
My brother, who struggled with addiction his whole life, I think one of the big um something that really held him back was not wanting to be labeled an alcoholic because of the connotation around that and how people then view you.
You think it held back his recovery?
Yes,
Got
yes,
it.
yes. Because he was like, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't want that
Understood.
label. I
Sorry.
don't want to be put in that category.
hmm
Um, and then I don't know, one of the many, many, many quit literature books that I read talked about the labels don't matter
hmm
because what somebody considers to be an alcoholic and what someone else considers to be an alcoholic could be two completely different things.
Right.
I would say for me, because I grew up around very clearly defined examples of alcoholism, of people going to, in my family, having to be in rehab, drinking in secret, doing all of those things, I always considered that alcoholism. And I think
Right.
that label too probably held me back from addressing who I was as a drinker.
That's
Because I
true.
would look and say, well, I'm not that. I'm not an
Correct.
alcoholic. I don't have to go to rehab. I've never lost a
That's right.
job. So looking at people who are labeled as alcoholics made me think, well, I'm not
You're
that.
fine.
I'm fine. When the truth of the matter is, I had a drinking problem. I had a problem with my relationship to alcohol, in that I could happily not drink it for long, long periods of time. But then when I did, I had the high likelihood is that I would overindulge.
But like one of the quit lit that we've both read as mentioned, and I agree with that, when you label anyone, yourself or someone else, and like you said, labeling someone an alcoholic then is also a disservice to you because then you compare yourself.
Yes.
But also then you're making it the responsibility of the person to have gotten addicted to an addictive substance,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like you don't say like he's a like you do cocaine addict or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he's a coke addict is of course anyone who's going to do coke if they do it too much they're going to become addicted.
But so
right?
that is so interesting because I was thinking about that the other day when someone asked me a question. I was thinking about how anybody has the potential to be an alcoholic.
If you're human, you do.
If we took someone who only drinks one glass of wine a year and gave him a glass of wine
Every day.
at every meal,
Mhm.
they would eventually become addicted too.
Absolutely.
So it's, I think I also don't like there's just the labels that go with this kind of abstinence, I think are problematic.
Yes.
I think calling someone an alcoholic can put them in a category that that category is far too broad. I look back now and I would say I was a binge drinker because I was someone who would just drink too much
Right.
in various, unlike you,
Right.
who had a pretty stable consumption, right?
Heavy, high, stable
Yeah,
consumption.
yeah.
Yes.
Whereas mine was very, very roller coaster,
Hmm.
very, very much. Um, recognize that there were large parts of my week, month, years where I didn't drink.
Would you be like, okay, would you be more acceptable of the term functional alcoholic?
I guess.
I think like if like sometimes people want labels not to label but just to understand,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I think sometimes it's just an easy way to understand something. And just like you, for me, an alcoholic, because we grew up in the same era, is the guy who is on the street
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
drinking and sanitizer, right? And that's what we learned. So
Yes.
it is what it is. We're the product of our
Yes.
generation, but I think if you need to label someone who is using alcohol and it's not healthy anymore, I would call that a functional alcoholic.
Right. Right.
I definitely was one.
Functioning.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I hate labels.
I
I
understand.
hate
Right.
labels. Um, whether it's in relation to how you look
That's
or
true.
how you um, socialize, or I just feel like labels are restrictive, right?
They are.
They're putting people into a category, and every single person is different. And I love to reference the spectrum on which we fall as users of alcohol
Right.
when we were users. And I look at where I fell on that scale, and I was probably somewhere in the middle. So I would never say, "Oh God, yeah, no, she had a big problem." And I don't think anyone in my life would ever have looked at me and thought, "Oh, look, Maxine's got a problem." In
Right.
fact, not a lot of people, way more than not, have said to me, "Oh my gosh, I would never have considered you as somebody who needed to quit drinking."
Oh, and that's the probably the one of the most difficult hurdle when you quit drinking. If you were a very well behaved drunk, like I
Yes.
was, is people are like, I don't
Well, I wouldn't
understand
say I was
what.
always a
But
well-behaved
I was
drunk, but
pretty well behaved as a drunk, and that's the most difficult hurdle because people are like, I don't understand why you're
why?
quitting.
Why are you
You were
quitting? Why can't
fine,
you?
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like one of these books pointed out that was really interesting is one of the reasons that anyone can become quickly an alcoholic is not just physically, but how your brains learn. Like for instance, she was giving the example of someone who's always drank very reasonably in very moderation, very seldom. All of a sudden they go through a divorce and they have a drink and their brain sees, oh, okay, I feel better during this crisis thing with this one. And you don't realize the association. And that the association gets done over and over. Now, next thing you know, you're drinking every day. And next thing you
Yes.
know, you're drinking a bottle a day.
Yeah.
So anyone can become, quote unquote, an
An
alcoholic
alcoholic.
at
Yeah.
any time in their life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I agree with
So,
that. And I would, to wrap that subject up, I would just say whatever helps you. Like
mhm.
it labeling or recognizing a term of alcoholism or not was not a factor for me. Like
Mhm.
for me, it was how I felt. And you and I were talking about this off camera earlier. It's like my productivity, the increase in my output as a human being is the thing that made me realize not necessarily anything other than I was holding myself back from my full potential.
And you've also mentioned that your moods were not as great when you were
No. Oh,
drinking.
definitely not.
So,
Not roller coaster moods. Roller coaster moods. Be from the, crazy, as we talked about on the last episode,
right.
carefree party animal, da da da. But then the next day, the bear with the sore head situation and the being grumpy and the being tired and the not wanting to do anything and canceling plans. And for me, overeating.
So it's
All
kind
of
of
the
like you don't have to be a diabetic to want to quit sugar, right? Like
yes.
I know I don't quit sugar, but if I have, I don't pay attention to sugar that much. But since I'm a kid, if I have a little bit too much, especially in the morning, then I have to pay for it for 3 hours where I'm so sleepy I barely can put a foot in front of the other.
If you
And
take sugar.
oh, I love pastries in the morning. I don't
Mm-mm.
like sugar the rest of the day, but I love pastries. And if they're a bit too sweet, I'll eat the whole thing. I think it's delicious. And then I pay for it
Okay,
for
because
like
you have a
3 hours. I'm like,
crash.
just like, I
Yeah.
mean, a slumber that you can't imagine. It's like you're drugged. So my point is, even though I might like the taste, if you're going to pay for it, I'm like, fuck it. And I'm not a diabetic. So you
Yeah.
don't have to be an
Yeah.
alcoholic to be
No.
like, it makes me
No.
feel crappy.
Yeah. And that piece of advice that my another aunt of mine had shared, which was, if and this is for our listeners who have asked these questions, you don't have to label yourself an alcoholic. You don't have to label yourself anything. If you are questioning your relationship with alcohol,
Hmm.
then you're on to something,
That's
right?
right.
If you're one of those people who's like, oh God, I can't deal with these hangovers anymore, I can't, then you're on to something, and
Correct.
explore it and figure out. For me, it was okay. I did 75 hard, and then I did it twice, and then I never wanted to go back. So whatever leads you down the path to your better version of you,
Right.
then forget, who cares about
And
labels.
there's something to be said also about the tail wagging the dog, like
Yeah. Yes.
that person, one of the Quitlet was mentioning, like, you have to wonder, it's not normal if you're like, tonight I'm just having a glass of wine, and every time you're having four, like, even though
Yeah.
you don't want to,
Yes.
you're doing
Yes.
something you don't want to do. And that was
Yes.
happening to me a lot. I
Yeah.
was setting out for one thing, and
But not able to
inevitably,
achieve it.
and that's
Yeah.
weird. You're like, okay, that's weird. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. We're still on the same page there. What do you do now when you're either stressed, angry, or overwhelmed? Huh.
Oh,
That's so funny, because this time of year, this summer, so in the parenting sphere, they talk about crazy end of year December. May, they call May mayhem,
mm-hmm.
which we've gone through. And for me, this year, it overflowed well into June. And that overwhelm is the thing that many people treat with
Booze.
wine,
Yeah.
with the mom wine culture.
Yes.
And again, something that was so fed to a certain demographic of, you work so hard as a mom, you never get a break, here you go, here's your wine, instead of saying, actually, how could we fucking give mothers a break?
Right.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Let's not give them something that's going to make them feel like shit the next day.
Yeah.
But of course, if we had universal
Wisdom.
healthcare, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
had
What?
universal pre-K,
Correct.
we have a whole lot of things that would make mothers' lives better, but we don't. And so the question, what do you do? What do you do
To
instead?
manage your stress or your
Yeah.
discomfort. That's a tough one. It's a tough one.
So I have carved out me time
Mm-hmm.
as much as I possibly can. Things I love to do. I'm all caught up on Bridgerton, and now I have to
Oh,
wait.
that sucks.
So that was my not overwhelm and not angry or stressed, but so I'm not really answering the question. Uh
It's
um
difficult. It's a difficult question. It's not because alcohol is an easy reach.
yeah.
And that's the part of quitting drinking. One of the part that's the most difficult one. For
Yeah.
me, it's been like literally, I'm a compensator, right? So when I quit smoking, I started drinking more, right? Literally.
Yes.
So now I've replaced with NA. I mean, I
Right.
drink so much
So
of the
you've
shit.
got your NA.
Yeah.
I would say something that I've definitely done is relax my crazy rules that I have given myself over the years
Oh.
about eating, because I was constantly
Watching
on the
yourself?
yo-yo weight
Okay.
thing, as I have discovered, mostly related to my alcohol consumption, and then my poor eating habits that would come from hangovers.
Right.
I definitely will say, oh yeah, totally having a slice of chocolate cake. I was out for
Absolutely.
dinner last night with a friend, and before I would have said, no, I'm going to have, I would have said these exact words: I'm going to drink my dessert.
Yes.
Last night I had a giant piece of chocolate torte.
And it probably was better than booze.
It was so good. So I would say that's something I do. The other thing that I do when I am overwhelmed, and I'm very mindful of being overwhelmed, because I have I ever told you about my carotid artery dissection. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
one of, so
Are
that
you kidding
that
me?
moment in my life where thinking it could all be over
Ugh.
made, and it wasn't as a result of overwhelm, or at
No,
least we
no.
don't know, but certainly it happened at a time in my life where I was completely
Stressed out.
exhausted.
Yeah.
I was completely stressed. I was not sleeping well. I was drinking too much. All of these certainly conflated but so now sleep, my sleep is a thing that I will go to in any situation of I'm I'm grouchy, I'm tired,
Right.
I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm like, I need a fucking nap.
I've
Like a
been, oh,
toddler.
you
It's like
can
I need a
nap?
nap. I
Oh,
need a
I
nap.
can't nap.
Oh, I
I,
can
I've
nap.
been, I've been blessed with sleeping. Obviously, my sleep was wonky when I was drinking,
Mhm.
but considering, e- even though it was wonky, it was better than most people because I've been blessed, like my late father, with this. It's like I'm going under anesthesia.
Oh, what a great
It's like
gift.
someone came, and when I wake up every morning, I'm like, what happened? Where is it? What? Like, where am I? Like every morning, it's like it was a black hole.
You're like a
For
dog.
Oh
You're
my
like a puppy
God,
dog.
it's like a black hole. So I've been blessed with that. But it's funny because you're
Okay, that's
talking.
amazing. That is a
Oh, it
gift.
is. I mean, I'm so grateful for
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
so grateful because I've known insomnia only once in my life when, those 2 years of being sick all the time.
Mhm.
And by the way, you're talking about your artery.
Yeah.
uh, so the last night of these 2 years, when finally I had the mother load of the appendix attack, which led to peritonitis, which that means the shit is
Yeah,
everywhere,
yeah.
I was drinking. I was in pain,
Yeah.
pain. And I remember thinking, this must be psychological. So I went and got myself a big old glass of Bordeaux and I fucking drank all the
Yeah.
way to my way to bed. And it was the kind
Yeah.
of pain that at some point I was like, I might die. And I was drinking till I went to bed. At some point I couldn't drink anymore because I was,
Right,
everything.
right.
But it's so, right? It's
But
so
again, and it's
crazy.
so ingrained in us.
So
So
ingrained.
it's funny, after my carotid artery dissection, I was on very serious blood thinners
Oh,
because
Jesus.
the clot had to dissolve
Right.
and the artery had to heal, and so it was, so I was on blood. You cannot drink on blood thinners.
Did you?
No.
Okay.
So I didn't. But you know what? There were a number of people because I was terrified. I was
Oh, you
like,
probably
I
were
had
so
reached the precipice of I
PTSD.
might never see
No,
my
no,
children
right.
again. And now I'm
Did you
like,
not did you not have PTSD? Did you not have to take antidepressant for a while after that? Were you not reliving it all the time?
I wasn't.
Okay.
I
I was
wasn't.
very
I was,
PTSD
oh, were
for a
you?
while. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Think,
Well, I
yeah.
went into a period where I wasn't allowed to do anything.
Right. I can
I had to be
imagine.
very mindful. There could be no stress. There had like it was all about and I have pretty low blood pressure, but it was
Same.
all maintaining my calm and
Right.
no exertion, no moving your neck too hard. Like
Oh
none of this stuff.
God.
It's like we just need this thing to heal because the surgery that treats that in older people has a very high morbidity rate. So they
So what
never
did you do to calm down? Like that's tying with that
can I tell you, it so ties in with this
So what
question.
did you do?
I started taking, well, first of all, everything had to stop, right? So,
Right.
and then I was so mindful of what I put on my plate, on
Hmm.
what, not my physical plate,
No.
what's on my schedule, what's on my diary.
Right.
And I wasn't able to do many things. So it's funny. Maybe next episode I need to wear one. I embraced the lady of the manor because
Mm-hmm.
it happened in the summer. It happened in June.
Mm-hmm.
And so all the way for 6 months, I was on the blood thinners, but for the first 3 months, I wasn't even allowed to go for a long walk. Like,
Wow.
so I sat on my front porch
Shit.
on a little, I could do very gentle
Little
walking
things.
around.
Yeah.
You could do anything. It was just super. I mean, it's other than that, you have to be on a stroke
Of
ward.
course not.
And
No.
so I was able to do that, but I bought these lovely caftans.
Oh, I love those. So comfortable.
So that was my summer
I
of
love it.
caftans.
I
And
love
I
it.
would just go from one different place in my garden
No
throughout the
bra.
summer.
Let it all
No,
air out. I
no
fucking love it.
underwear.
I
Just this
love it.
lovely, and they were long sleeve because I can't be in the sun very much.
Mhm.
These long sleeves, long thing. And I just spent 3 months wearing those. Like
Wow.
that is all I did. And it was 100% the least stressful time of my life.
So, what would you recommend someone who doesn't have the luxury of cleaning up their parochial plate,
Yeah.
but someone that is maybe like single parents, so
Yeah.
they just them,
Yeah.
and they're quitting drinking, and they're getting overwhelmed and stressed out like we all do. What would you tell that person to do to help out
Well, so I mean,
instead of the
well,
booze?
yeah, it depends on what your schedule will allow you to do. But for me, like things that we can do that don't cost anything are find a 30-minute moment to be outside.
Right,
For me, take a nap. Like because we're the same. If I'm 5 a.m. awake,
right.
and now in the summertime, I'm wide awake with the birds and they're chirping outside my window and it's amazing. But I'm like wide awake, wide awake. In fact, today I was awake at 4:45 and there was no going back to sleep,
Right.
which was fine because I get up and the sun is out
Mm-hmm.
and I sit outside and I work and it's amazing. But I'm 52 years old. I'm 50, about to be 53 years old. I get tired,
Right.
and I have developed a knack of giving myself a nap in the middle of the day if
Huh.
I can do it.
I would
Um,
probably tell this person, like, let's say you can't do a nap, you don't, you're living in the city, you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
have the outdoors. I would say, like, do what you used to do. Take it non-alcoholic.
yeah,
Get yourself a big
yeah.
old
Give
fucking
yourself
glass
a
of
nice,
NA wine.
or
Call a friend,
yes,
call your mama, call somebody to
yeah,
talk about whatever. You can bitch about politics, but let it out, let it out. Don't keep it
yes,
in. And
yeah.
because it
That's good
always
advice.
goes away. It
Let it out.
always goes away. And I've learned that more so when I quit smoking, because I was so much more, because you're physically addicted and this fucking sucks. And it goes away. You just
Yeah,
need to remember that it
yeah.
goes
This
away
too shall
much
pass.
faster,
Yeah,
but you need to let it out. So I'd be like, you can't go walk in your garden because you live in the city, you've got 3 kids, you're a single person, and you're limited, and like you have all these responsibilities. You can't take a chill pill. Take an NA wine or an NA
yeah.
whatever, and call somebody you like to kick the shit with
Yeah.
and do that for
And
5
well,
minutes.
and figure out whatever it is, because there are plenty of
Well,
people who
maybe there's
don't
other
want to
things.
drink any wine,
Right.
right?
Or maybe you want to
And,
knit, or maybe,
or
right,
maybe you want
exactly.
a big slice of chocolate torte,
Yes. Okay. So
you know?
that's my
Yeah.
dessert. Right. Give yourself a fucking piece. I don't like
Piece
sweets
of
that much, so I
pie.
don't think about it. But
Yeah.
if you like dessert,
Right. It's
get
finding the
yourself a
thing
piece
for
of
you
something.
that makes you go,
Yes.
"Ooh," because
Yes.
that's what I sent a friend of mine a case of uh a, a half a case of non-alcoholic champagne the other day because he said to me, my treat. It's my treat when I get home
Right.
is after a long day of work. I need my treat, and my treat is a glass of champagne, or I keep a bottle in the
Oh,
fridge.
I
And
completely
I'm like,
feel
so
that.
get a different,
That's what I
do
do.
that.
I yesterday, so I drove 7 hours round trip to Boston. I had a big meeting with design engineers and all that, and I'm like, and I was getting all these calls. And what it was a busy day, and at 54, doing a 7 almost and a half round trip,
That's a lot.
it's a
Yeah.
lot. I was tired, and when I got home, first thing first, I burned the bra. By the way, I don't even remove my bra home. I remove it in the fucking truck. I'm like, I have this whole technique, and I take it off my sleeve.
Yes.
There goes the bra. I almost tossed it through the window. I fucking hate those things. So first the bra goes, and I sped my way from Boston to have my nice NA
Yeah.
Oceano Chardonnay. My God, with my
Yes.
boobies in the wind, I was so happy. So I understand this man. Like, yeah, you want, and you did the
Yeah.
best thing. You sent him a case of
Yeah.
NA champagne, and
Yeah.
it does, but you need to have a little bit, put a little bit of yourself in it. If you're gonna be like, well, that's not wine. Well, then
Yeah.
yes, that's not
Yeah.
gonna
No,
work.
then well,
You
exactly.
know.
But replacing it with something, yeah,
And
giving yourself
I
a
want to just
treat.
say on that, like one of the things that quitting alcohol has given a lot of people is we treat ourselves when we used to not.
Well, that's the thing. But
Right?
the alcohol was the treat before because we were
Yeah, but we
conditioned
knew
to it.
like it was, but you wouldn't treat yourself past that, right? The alcohol, that was a big enough treat that I feel as though when people quit drinking, they will just not say no to themselves on anything.
Yeah.
If they want chocolate, they'll have chocolate. If they
Yeah.
want a massage, they'll have a massage. If they want, you know what I'm saying? I feel as though they're like, you've given up something difficult, so fuck it. I'm not saying no to you ever again. I
Yeah.
feel as though you allow yourself more
More of that stuff.
kindness and more
Yeah.
treats
Yes.
when you quit
Yes.
drinking,
When
which
you
is
realize
nice.
that you've
Sorry.
done this thing
Yeah,
that is, you know, to some people impossible,
it's hard.
and to everyone who has done it, or most people
Right.
who if it was a big part of your life, it's hard.
Right.
It's hard. And it actually segues beautifully into this next question, which is how long did it take before not drinking felt normal?
Are you asking me or are you
Yeah.
gonna? Oh. I think it sneaks in on you in little. I don't think it happened all at once. I will say that definitely within maybe 1 year, it starts feeling where you don't think about it at all, right?
Yes.
Like I realized I stopped counting the days. After 1 year, like I
Yes.
stopped counting the days. I
Yes.
don't even know how many days it is, right? And
Yes.
but it'll sneak in on you before that, where you'll go to a party and then get home and be like, "Oh, that's right, I didn't even drink," and you didn't think about it. And I think that starts happening within months,
Yeah.
right? What would you
I
say?
would say it's different. Of course it's going to be different for
Right.
everybody as we know. Um I mean it definitely feels so completely normal to me now.
Right.
Um and I'm not even 2 years. We're not because we're kind of the same.
Yep.
I didn't do the day counting thing. And it wasn't actually I had to go back and figure out what my
Stop date
date
was.
was because I had never intentionally stopped drinking.
Right.
But I went back and realized what day I started 75 hard, which was
Understood.
September 23rd.
Hmm.
And then one of my friends who counts her days and counts, she was like, that's a milestone in your life. You should give it the attention it deserves. And so now I will always mark that day, or I will at
Right.
least say, oh, now I'm 2 years or whatever. Um, I feel I've even gone further than it feeling normal to not drink. I feel empowered and free.
That is true. It's very empowering. There's something very empowering about
Yeah.
it.
And I joke about I feel a little
Not
neat.
arrogant, but a little
No,
bit like
definitely. It's like
a little bit.
I've evolved past that
Yes. Yeah.
part of my life, which was a very, very big part of my life for
Yeah.
3 decades.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say if I'm looking back, probably around the 1 year mark, I was like, look at me, I don't even think about it
Right.
anymore.
I don't think about and I still sometimes think about it, but not think about it like I want to drink.
Yes.
Just think about it because it's so prevalent, I would say, or omnipresent in society, like
Yes.
way more than cigarettes
Yes.
was,
Yes.
that you're always navigating, not every day navigating it, but it's always going to be around where, reminders of how things used to be and now you're not this way anymore, or everybody's doing it and you're not, more like that. But just like you, there's not a day that I'm like, I want to drink. No, no,
Right.
no.
Right.
But where you have a bad day and you're like, fuck, I can't reach out for anything. Okay, but I don't want to have alcohol. I'm
Yeah.
just saying I can't reach out for anything. You
Yeah.
know, um,
But you can reach out for your NA wine or your chocolate
right?
torte,
But it's
right?
not going to numb me.
Yeah.
You
No,
have to
it's
let it.
not.
You
It's
have to do
not.
the human thing.
Yeah.
You have to be a human. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to do the actual healthy thing, which is kind of like deal with it and let it
Deal with it.
pass.
Deal with it. And that's the
That's the thing
thing that
that's
we
actually
we we
healthy.
forget
Yeah,
that instead of numbing it,
you're
it's
supposed to
deal
deal
with
with
it.
it.
Like, why are you feeling this way? And it's easier said than done because we think that quick fix is the answer. Um
And by the way, I was thinking about that this week. This is not at all scientific. I don't know this for a fact. Okay.
well, just lest we forget to
This is
remind
just
everybody we
the,
are not
by the way,
scientists.
this is just from one white privileged bitch from Vermont to another.
Yes, correct.
I wonder if people that have a propensity to drugs and alcohol just are not the kind of people that feel more than
Ye-
the average, like that feel intensely things.
yes.
I wonder that because I seem to see a commonality, not necessarily big personalities, but that tend to feel things pretty intensely. And
Yes.
therefore, and oftentimes I feel as though, not it's completely going off track on that, but, and you tell me if that's the case with you, where I've always often been accused of being too much, right? I feel like my mom would be like, why do you have to be so extremist?
Yes.
If you
Yes.
knit, you knit like, if
Yes.
you play piano, and if
Yes.
you're happy, you're super happy. If you're in a bad mood, you're in a fucking bad mood, right? And my moods are pretty stable, so it's not that. But I've often been accused of being too much or a
Yes.
lot.
Oh my gosh.
And I feel as though
This is
that
why we're friends.
and that
I have always
and I
been.
feel a lot of the quit lit or
Yeah.
people that were like, "Whoa, I used alcohol a lot," all say that
So many
they were
people.
accused of being a lot. Like that's something bad. So to answer this person, that's the stuff you're going to deal with all your life. That now that you're not drinking, you're always going to be a lot, or you're always going to be too much.
Yeah.
But now you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And, we keep saying you have to deal with it without
And who said that it's
without avoiding
right?
without avoiding the source of whatever has brought you to this
And
place. It's like,
who's the authority? Who decided that I'm too much and you're too much? Like who
yeah.
decided that if you're a certain way, that is too much? Where's the fucking line? Right? So to these people that think we're too much, I'm like, maybe you're not enough.
Yes. Or, you know what? It's like everybody's enough in your own
That's right.
capacity.
But so don't tell me I'm too much. I'm saying you're not
No,
enough.
no,
You
no,
know
no.
what
But I'm saying
saying?
that's
Right.
how we get to that problem.
Correct.
And also, I just love to say, because I've had this my whole life, and even inside my family, where it's like, oh God, she's too much. She's too optimistic. She's too loud. She's too
Too
this. She's too
loud.
everything. It's like, you don't have to like me. Move on.
That's right.
Right? It's
Yeah, but then I'm guilty. Like if you don't like me, then that hurts my feelings, and then I start self-hatred.
yeah, it doesn't hurt my feelings anymore because
No,
I
I'm
live in
better
my
now.
I don't
I'm
give a fuck
better.
50s.
I'm better. I'm better.
But and of course we still do. It still does hurt
Right.
when someone's like, oh, it's like the person who wrote and said,
But then
privileged white bitches from Vermont. You don't have to like us. Go away.
so like someone, I forget who told me that. Maybe it was my mom. I forget whom, but someone, like, let's say someone doesn't like you, and I can sometimes I don't give a fuck, but there's other times I tend to go inward and feel like victimized by not being liked, right?
Yes.
And then the person was like, oh no, it was a friend of mine. She's like, well, do you like her? And I'm like, no. Okay, so why do you want her to like you? Like,
Yes.
like I would be upset that someone I actually don't like doesn't like me.
Yeah.
So I
yeah.
have a little bit of a complex of the adoration. Like,
Well, we're humans. We want to be loved, right? We want to be liked. We want to be appreciated.
preferably adored.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I want to be adored. Yeah. So, to wrap up that question, I would say around the year mark, for
Yeah.
me, it felt like, and now oh, and actually this is pretty great. And this might have to be our last question, but, see, we never get through all of them, but we can roll them over.
Yes.
This is a great one. Do you think you will ever drink again?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely
No,
not.
the door has been
It's
closed.
great when there is a question that is
Right. Okay,
every
so
one I've been like, well,
if-
there's no straight answer.
Like if God came down
yes.
and gave me, first of all, aligned eyes, right? So that I don't look like Picasso, boobs that stand up so I never have to wear a bra. And if he said, all right, I'll grant you a third wish. You can, on occasion, have just one glass of wine and you won't have any more, right? Like it's a special occasion. You're like, oh, I really, I'm granting you that wish. Like,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be able to have one glass of wine every month, and you're not gonna want any more than that. I would take that wish. I would take it.
Would you?
Yeah. why
Even
not?
knowing now that what we talk about all the time, which is
One
we
glass
know
of
it's
wine,
not good for
no,
you.
but one glass of wine is as bad for you as downhill skiing. It's treacherous, right? Like
Right.
there's risk to everything,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think if you're able to have one glass of wine a month without it being a struggle, for
Yeah.
me, it would be a huge struggle. But let's say God came down, it's like, no, it's not. Then it's like it's such a diluted risk. And if it's a delicious Bordeaux with your friends, and I'm like, it's like, as I said, downhill skiing. It's like riding a motor scooter. They all carry risk, right? I would take that, but that's it. And it would have to be
But
granted
you
by
see
God.
that is the problem, though, because that is what the other side of this argument is using to tell
No, no,
people
no, no.
not to quit drinking.
No, God,
right?
God would grant me. I can't if
Okay,
God
I'm an
doesn't
atheist,
intervene.
so
Right? No,
get-
but like
yeah.
pretend there's one. I can't drink a glass of wine per
Right,
month. I
right.
cannot. If I do, it's a glass of wine every half hour.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
existing. So same as my eyes will never be even. Same as my boobs will never stand up. So it's literally there has to be God that comes down and is like, I'm
Yeah.
going to give you standing up boobs, even eyes. And also, while we're at it, you have a third one. You can have a glass of great Bordeaux per month, and you'll never want more than that. I'd be like, fuck yeah. In that situation, maybe I would drink.
Yeah.
You think that's likely to happen?
No, it's
There
not
you go.
likely to happen. But I guess my answer is different, and it's a firm no. Chapter's closed.
Right.
It's over. Also, I no longer like the taste of it. So
Well, that would be the problem.
I don't miss
Yes,
the
right.
taste of Bordeaux
Right,
anymore,
right.
because anytime I've tasted it, I'm like, wow, can't believe I like that.
So,
So for me,
yeah.
it's a very simple no. But the sort of caveat to that is I also very much live in the present. So I don't look back and go, I wish I never drank.
No.
Because that was a chapter of my life that I did. I also live in a world, where you just don't know what is around the corner. But I wake up every single day with a fucking smile on my face, with no headache, knowing someone, I think I posted this on social media the other day on one of our clips. I was like, just knowing that I will never have a hangover again, ever, never,
Right.
ever, period, is enough for me to be, oof, yeah.
But by the
Done.
way, short of God, and by the way, if he granted me that wish, I didn't think about that part. One glass of wine a month, that glass not gonna taste good. So I'm probably not gonna drink it because you don't get used to it
You're
enough.
not, oh yeah.
So that's not gonna work. So then no. But why I can say with certainty that we'll never drink again
Yeah.
is even though the most horrible of things were to happen to me,
Yes.
which I hope the fuck not,
Don't. Yeah.
then it would, if I drink because of that, now I have two fucking problems.
Yeah. Well, that's one of my
'Cause
favorite
for
sayings of
me-
yours.
For
is-
me,
yeah.
one glass is like there's I've tried it enough time, more than 25 times
Yeah. Yeah.
to moderate it, very seriously moderate.
Yes,
Not
yes.
like, okay, tonight I'm just gonna have one. That's not even a try.
Mhm.
Okay. To know, right?
Yeah.
And what that leads to. So there's not a situation. If you give me cancer, like
yeah.
I'm not gonna drink, that's not gonna help,
And I
So,
think with all of these questions is, while that is a black and white, that is a yes or no answer for us, I think that is sometimes, and actually it's the whole premise of
Sober
this book,
Curious.
Sober
I never
Curious,
read it.
is that for many people, never is
It's
too
hard.
daunting.
Yes.
To say I will never drink again is far too much for many people to grasp.
Well, that's why
So
earlier I
that's
said,
why she says
Right.
in her book, she was like,
oh,
did a plant just follow me?
yes.
Well, it's live here, everybody. What Ruby Warrington says is, when someone says to her, will you ever drink again? She says, I don't know.
So
That's her answer.
I rarely, like I said earlier on this podcast or the one before, I said, I don't like to say I'll never drink again.
Yeah.
Even though I know
'Cause
I
it's
will never.
scary. Yeah.
I know I
There's
won't,
something about the finality of
but
it.
I don't like to say it.
Right.
Because also my mom has always said, you never say never.
Yeah.
It's almost bad luck.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But for me, I'm able to spin the viewpoint around from not what I'm missing
Mm-hmm.
in saying I would never drink again, and thinking exclusively about it. Here I am, the eternal optimist again, thinking exclusively about it from what I get.
Right.
Not what I don't have anymore, but what I do have.
Right.
So I would never, ever, ever, for the rest of my days, trade the freedom and the knowledge of never having a hangover.
Right.
That is enough for me to say, where do I sign? Where do I sign? And I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
signed.
Right.
And,
Yeah,
and,
same.
and that's it, you
Right.
know? And cheers to us.
Cheers
I
to
love
us,
our
man.
happy as fuck alcohol free.
Mm.
Again, and every now and again, we slur our words on here, and it's
Oh my
like
God.
we're drinking.
Oh my God. There's so many examples. So first of all, my accent is still thick, but when I was drinking, when I was getting a little slush, woo-wee,
I mean,
those
I
are
don't know. We certainly, our listeners would not be able to understand you.
You know, the other day I was listening. I need to talk slower because I even struggle to understand me when I listen back to the podcast. No shit. I don't know how Brooks does it. I
Listen, and
think Brooks
don't
pretends.
even talk to Priscilla about the closed captioning that she has to put on the
Oh,
things. She was like, I want you to know that because you can just tell the video editing platform and it does it automatically.
yeah.
Not for you.
No, what
She's
you know,
like, no, I have to go back. And I'm like, no, that's not what she said.
you know
What
what
did she say?
you know when you talk on your phone for the text when you're
Yes, talk
driving?
to
Do you
text.
know many times people are writing back, are you fucking talking to your phone? Because it's coming out gibberish. It's insane. Do you know how many times I have to say, I'm so sorry, she's not understanding my accent? Like, do you know? Oh my God, the shit that
Well,
it
I mean, that
spits
even
out.
happens to me, and I,
Really?
don't. Well, because sometimes I say things, and I'll say to Andrew, I was like, Siri just won't write what I'm saying right now, so
That's so
I will
funny.
call you later. But, well, listen, this was a fun Q&A.
Yes, very fun.
Very
I'm
fun.
glad we still have some leftovers.
Well, because
They're my favorites.
these are, and they're really popular,
Yes.
these episodes. So we will always do one of these every 3 or 4 episodes. So we'll just roll these questions over. Um, but thank you, as always, for listening to Happy AF. Go on over to happyafpodcast.com where we're going to find and post a picture of Isabelle in her construction outfit.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And
So
I
you
have a
have to
brand
send
new
us one of
hat.
those. You have to send us one of those. As you know, we are on all the platforms, Instagram, TikTok. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all of the places. And communicate with us. It's our favorite thing, and it's what keeps us going. I reference all the time the fact that we just did this one day and didn't realize it was going to become this thing that it is, that
I
has
love it.
now a team and lots of
Hmm.
listeners and lots of friends in this alcohol-free space. And we do it for community. Like that's one of the things we talked about in our team meeting was, why do we do this? This is a huge lift for us. It's a big thing to run a podcast. It is a big thing for us to commit to recording them on a regular schedule. It is a big thing for our amazing team, the tiny team that we have of 3 people. It's but what motivates us, and I loved that came out of our team meeting and our team dinner, was it it's building a community, and that to me is so worthy. It is so worthwhile doing this
Hmm.
without yet sponsors or any kind of financial backing, is that we're doing it because we fucking believe so much in building a community where people can be alcohol free and feel good about it and feel celebrated and feel connected. That's what we want as human beings. And that's
Right.
what we're doing here.
Well, I
So
think I think you're a much better human than I am because personally it's just free therapy. And so but I
that's an
love that you're
added,
so
that
generous.
is the fresh creme fraiche on top of my chocolate torte.
All I want
So,
is to be adored and have free therapy
oh,
and even eyes and standalone boobs. That's it.
we love you. Don't we love her? Thank you for listening, everybody. I'm Maxine. I am happy alcohol free.
I'm Isabel. I'm happy as fuck.
And we will see you on the next episode. Mwah.